mentioned demographics before. Is there a bit of a baby boomer element here with the children of the 60s growing up and having it was almost a religion to have marijuana legalized back then? Is there some of that?
There is some of that, but I mean, it is important to remember that most of the children of the 60s weren't children of the 60s in the sense of their lifestyle. It was a minority that, you know, got the headlines and has had, I guess, disproportionate influence on society. But on this issue of tobacco and the drug notion, I mean, that's certainly true. And of course, this is why we've had this growing medicalization of smoking and drinking and obesity. It's very important for the public health folks to make the case that you're addicted. If you're addicted, it's something that's been done to you, which means you can target the manufacturers and producers and distributors. It also means that, guess what? There might be, just hypothetically, a pharmaceutical company out there who's able to manufacture a cure, which, you know, just might be the thing that a state-run healthcare system might want to buy in large quantities. So, you know, there's an agenda here. There's a business, self-interested agenda on the outside, you know, beyond government, but within government and within the public health establishment. There are all kinds of overlapping circles by which they attempt to achieve the same goal. You know, marginalization, denormalization, eradication.
Okay, if we've got nothing more, I will invite John.
Maryetta was going to do a very short obituary.
Okay.
Go for it, huh? When John Gray called me and asked me to do this, I told him that I cannot promise I won't cry. And I'll make that same statement to you, ladies and gentlemen. John Turci and I met in the early 2000s, about 2003, when we got our weekly newspaper one day, and in 3-inch letters across the front page, County Board of Health implements the strongest smoking ban in the state. Well, needless to say, I have been on the fringe aware, but never involved in anything to do with fighting smoking bans. But that was my home turf, you know? So I got on the internet, and after a few weeks, I settled in that Forces was the organization that I thought I could best utilize to help me with educational materials, because in West Virginia, they didn't do it through the legislatures, they did it through the Board of Health. So when the state legislature declared that, in their opinion, secondhand smoke was a health hazard, it was put in the same category as food poisoning. If a restaurant is closed because of food poisoning, does the customers of that restaurant or the owner of that restaurant have a right to petition to change the laws or do anything to get that restaurant reopened? No, it's a health issue. So in West Virginia, our situation is very unique in that the public, the citizen, has little to no recourse. Okay, so I needed educational material to take to the health industry. I presented our health industry with over 5,000 pages of information before the doctor for the Board of Health said, it doesn't matter what you show us, what you tell us, who said it, if it's in writing or out loud. Legally, we can only listen to our peers. Their peers work through the state board of, or the county Board of Health, the state DHHR. DHHR is a cabinet office of the President, Department of Health and Human Services, which goes right back into the Economic Social Council, which goes right back into the United Nations. That was my first chain. And I've traced that chain literally in every country. But getting back to John. John and I talked on the phone when he figured out how interested I was. We talked daily for anywhere from a couple of minutes to 8 or 10 hours at a time. Thank God for the inventor of Skype. He was my right hand, my right arm, and I his for many years. He was my mentor, my friend. He was, I don't know. I wrote on here a whole bunch of stuff that I thought was real eloquent, but I'm not that eloquent of a person, so we're not gonna just sit here and read it. I knew his wife, and I know he was a wonderful husband, and he worshiped the ground that she walks on. But he shortchanged her because of forces, because of the prohibition, because of the people that wanted to take away our freedoms. He was a father. He shortchanged his children because he wanted them to have a better future. He was the president of forces. He helped form TICAP. And I believe, but I won't swear to it, that he helped form Freedom to Choose. He has organizations all around the world that are minuscule one-person organizations trying to fight prohibition. We are his legacy. Sink or swim, pass or fail, we are his legacy. And I can't speak any higher of him than I do of you. I can't speak any higher of you than I do of him. And that's what he's left us, is each other, our motivation, our education, the tools we need to do what we need to do. The greatest thing that John wanted to do that he didn't really complete was a worldwide coalition to fight the Economic and Social Council of the United Nations. That's what they have. That's what he wanted. He couldn't get it to happen in the United States, so he came to Europe and he did TICAP. 27 organizations you have now in several different countries? Is that what it is? 28, yeah. That's John's legacy. This room and everything that we're doing is John Turci's legacy. I would love to see an international coalition across the ocean. But so far the Americans are too independent. We have people say, well, why don't you do it under Forces? Well, Forces is a 501c3 nonprofit. As such, we can't lobby. So when somebody who's really a gung-ho activist to really be an asset to us wants to come into Forces and work with us, as soon as you say you can't lobby, they say, bye. I won't give up my right to lobby. And John understood that. So he came to Europe. The concept that John Turci's legacy is in this room is my main point. What you do with the future is how you honor John Turci. Thank you.